was trying to find a background, but I don't have one.
It's okay. All right. Welcome to tonight's discussion of Soulmates Dissipate by Mary B. Morrison. This is our nostalgic read for the month of August for the Millennial Girls Literary Society. So we're going to start off. Start off with a fun interactive game of your overall experience of this book. I know that we have all finished the book, right? So,
Yes.
would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10 before we go into deep discussion about the book? What would you give it before you read it and after you read it?
Mm, Before I read it, I probably would have gave it a 8,
Mm.
Mm.
a solid 8. After I read it, it was more like a 7. 'Cause,
Well,
yeah,
That bad.
Melanie was team decent much. So
Wow.
that grading system don't play over there. What would you give it, Ashley?
So before I read it, I thought it was gonna be like a 3 or a 4. And then after I read it with all the shenanigans in it, I'm probably gonna settle around a 7.
Mm. Okay, so this is my it's not my first time reading Mary B. Morrison, but this is my first time reading Soulmates Dissipate, and I had high expectations for this book. So I initially going in, I was like, okay, 6. It's gonna be. I know it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be really good, really entertaining. After I read it, I probably would give it an 8.5.
Mm.
That's
mm,
only because of all the drama and all the shenanigans and the characters, and like it didn't get boring. I'll definitely say
Mm-hmm.
I was not like, oh, okay, I gotta read another chapter type of thing. I don't like having to scroll through a book. So if the book can keep my attention and I'm enjoying it as it develops, that's a high score for me. So that's why I gave it an 8. So that's my perception of this book.
That's that's why the score went up for me because I
Mhm.
was like, I don't really know, but I feel like maybe if I actually read it versus listening to it, I probably would have enjoyed it a little more because I did not enjoy the narrator.
Okay, so the narrator kind of took it down for you.
Yeah,
Which platform did you use to narrate the book on? Was it the
Hoopla.
same narrator? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the same narrator. I think it's just available on different platforms.
Okay, was it Indigo? I think her name
I
was.
think so, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought maybe they had different narrators on different platforms.
Uh-uh. It's just the book is on available on different platforms.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't really mind the narrator. I would have preferred if they would have had a male narrator jump in during the storytelling
Mm,
for certain parts, but it didn't really throw the story off for me personally.
yeah.
What did you think, Amanda?
well, I read it. I didn't listen to it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
But I think the reason why I gave it my rating is because when I first read a book, I like the cover always catches me. So that's
Mhm.
why I read the cover first or visually.
Mm.
So that was the 8, but the 7, I don't know. I really couldn't get with the Melanie character. She was kind of.
Okay, so let's get into it because you already headed in that direction. At the beginning of the book, what did you think of Jada and Wellington's relationship? Did you really believe they were actually soulmates? Actually,
No.
actually giving
No.
that no, not at all.
No.
No. I'm gonna be honest because I was listening to it, and of course,
Mhm.
as I'm listening, I'm doing other things. But as I was listening to it, their introduction, their interaction did not even seem like these are people that are gonna end up in a relationship. It just seemed like I'm out doing my thing, hanging out, and I met this guy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like it didn't
Yeah.
seem like I don't know if it was necessarily maybe the writing, but like his characteristics, his qualities, whatever, their conversation, it just didn't gel to what she was building with the main character, with Jada. So it was
Mm,
just like, how did we get to y'all are in a relationship for real? Because it he doesn't sound like, he sounds like I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
that part. Mm-hmm.
And he like, I feel like, there was the talk of like, oh, the spiritual, but like you didn't see that really. Like you didn't see any conversations from them that like kind of showed like, oh, this is how we connect, all that kind of thing. It was just like, and yeah, we have this spiritual connection. Like I feel like if that would have been fleshed out more, that would have given him a little bit more, I'll say, appeal.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was just like, he's arrogant. Oh, we're
Mm.
together. Oh, we went on this date and I wore this dress and whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me take note for my own writing. I'll just put it that way.
I completely agree. I think when going into this story, of course, you want the characters to be in love. You want to see a happy reflection of a relationship, and so initially, that bubble was burst just by the naivete of the character's perception of like the interaction, how he perceives her, her values, her self-worth. This particular character, she didn't come off as like a very immediate likable character, a reflection of the woman that I am today. Now, maybe she could have easily slid by me 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago. I don't know. But this particular character, I felt very slanted with. I felt like, girl, are you not paying attention to this relationship? Like you said, Wellington was very arrogant. He did not give off I'm into you. It's just more so like you're the thing of the moment type of vibe for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on to the next. Like this is just something good for the moment. You make me feel good. And I think maybe the author maybe intentionally portrayed the relationship like that as very surface level, because in the beginning you're immediately thrown into their sexual dynamic. Like, oh, they so thick. I just see two beautiful people. One's very rich, one's career oriented. They look good together. They have a great sex life, and now they're in love, which is really lust, honestly, in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives toxic for what we know what toxic is today. But in the
Yeah.
younger me, I would have been like, oh, they so in love, and he like her, and they, I would have been like so romanticized by this relationship, especially with a character who comes from money. Like those are usually the ideal male characters that you want the female character to be drawn to.
Yeah.
What do you think, Amanda?
Um well, their relationship, Jada and Wellington's relationship kind of felt one-sided on Jada's behalf, because the minute that the other girl came over, he was more into her than he was into Jada.
Mm,
So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of felt, like I said, one sided, and it just felt like a book full of lust. Like, I didn't have a problem with it because I love reading smut, but it just felt lustful the whole entire time. It didn't feel genuine on
mm,
Mm-hmm.
his behalf. It felt genuine on Jada's behalf because I'm guessing that she actually wanted to be with him,
mm.
but I was
That's a
so
good point. Like sometimes I've seen it in my life and I've seen it within my friendships. You meet someone and they look good on the outside, but they're trash on the inside. But you
mm,
try to work through it because you're like, damn, he's so fine. And we look good together. And he got resources, he got money,
You in danger, girl.
me.
it was good, but you like, he really trash. But you want it to work because of the aesthetics of the relationship. But like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lustful relationship. So you're not really looking at the depth of how the extent of what the relationship is going. You just kind of like in it for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first red flag that made you question whether Jada's and Wellington relationship was going to survive?
Um, for me, and it was because I was trying to figure out what was going on
Mm-hmm.
because it opened up with her. What I thought was she was in DC, and then all of a sudden she's pulling up to his house. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
huh? I was a little confused on that. But the fact that she's pulling up to his house and there's some woman on the balcony and you answer the door with no shirt on. What are
Mm-hmm.
we doing? What are we doing here? Like, excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you're acting surprised. If I'm your so-called fiance, I'm all up in and through your house. I'm
Right.
not calling
Oh
before I
yeah.
come over. I'm just there.
Exactly.
Like, and then even her reaction to that, like, I feel like she was kind of ignoring the spidey senses on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I wouldn't have been that calm.
Mm.
And I get it, like, you're trying to portray this side, but like this is a real moment right now. You're gonna see the real me. Like it's not just gonna be all cutesy and ooh, let's connect our third eye. No, I'm gonna connect my fist to your eye. Like, no, what is this?
Exactly.
And I'm
Yeah.
definitely not gonna be like, you know what? There's a whole other woman, but you know what I need right now? Sex.
Mhm.
Hi, baby.
No, very valid point. I definitely caught that. And I think another red flag for me was the interaction with the other woman and how she was introduced to the story. Immediately, my antennas went up and I was like, wait a minute. There's another woman who comes from where he comes from and she's single. And so it was like, okay, I smell trouble. Like there's blood in the water. And because the character, like I said before, is so naive and got the love blinders on, she didn't see a threat when it presented itself. And so it kind of created more of what the plot was going of like somebody is coming after what you perceive to have or claim is yours.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so loose with it, and it's like that's not really your spot. But you right,
Right.
but you haven't claimed it. He hasn't really made you feel secure within this relationship because that other woman wouldn't have not even an inch to come into the relationship the way that she did. But that was my first red flag. Anytime another woman is comfortable around your man and the way that they interact or introduce each other, like it's a
And
red
they
flag.
not family?
And right, they're not family. They're not your auntie, your cousins. Yeah, red flag.
Amanda.
I'm trying to think because those are my red flags too. But uh, my my initial red flag was his mother.
Mm.
Yeah, the mom. I don't. I
It was
didn't.
a
I
lot.
didn't. It, a lot, very much so, a lot. She didn't. She clearly didn't care for Jada, and while that is probably the norm for a lot of spoiled rich guys,
Mm.
I didn't care for her only because she was pushing the other girl into the relationship. So Melanie wouldn't have felt comfortable staying there unless, the mom was right behind her, pushing her into, his house,
Forcing
stay
it.
there with
Mhm.
him. And
Mhm.
then
I
another,
don't understand how he thought that was okay, but go on.
I don't
Right.
either. But another red flag for me was I called it love bombing. But when they first met at the club and he was bringing her all those roses,
Oh
that
yeah.
was a flag for me. Like,
It seems
mm,
romantic, but it's a form of love bombing. You're absolutely right about that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We romanticize that. Oh, he's so sweet. He called me every day. He show up at my house unexpectedly. He at my job. Yeah, he's love bombing you.
Yeah,
You
love
absolutely
bombing.
said that, Amanda.
Showing up in my house is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Yeah.
way. Like,
Like,
now, granted, I did just say as a fiance, I'm showing up no matter what. But we've established something.
Right, exactly.
We've established something. Just new, and first of all, how do you even know where I live?
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I'm allergic to flowers, so now what? Oh, so you're trying to kill me. Got it.
My girl Jada was just so eager to be loved. You know what I mean? And I've been in that place too so many times in my own adult life. Like when somebody shows you that level of affection, you don't really consider it as a red flag because somebody is
Because
showing.
what you want.
Yeah, you want to be adorned, you want to be appreciated, you want to be validated in that space. And so you accept it, but you don't really know that you're accepting something that is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting with you, Amanda, do you think Jada was truly in love with Wellington, or was she in love with the life in the future she imagined with him?
Mm.
hmm. I I think that she was in love with the life and the future she could have had with him, as
Mm-hmm.
well as idea of him. You know, the idea of being married or engaged into this rich life where she didn't really have to do anything, I guess. You know.
Mm,
Um
true.
Soft girl era, as they call it.
there you go. Princess treatment.
True.
But yeah, I think that she was more in love with the life that she could have had with him. I don't think that she was truly in love with him because the sex, yeah, that was hidden. But other than that, she wasn't really in love with him. That was the life.
Mm. So I'm gonna come to you, Ashley, last. So I think I think you're absolutely right. She was in love with the idea of Wellington and what that life could look like. And a lot of the time, that life looks like freedom, access, power, and influence. I mean, the name is very rich, Wellington, for one. And I also think about the risk that we take or the betrayal that we make to ourselves when we go into a relationship like that. We look at someone's potential of what they can do to better our lives,
Oh
because
yeah.
we begin to devalue our own lives for the sake of saying, well, if I get with this person's going to rescue me. This person's going to make it better. If I just had a baller or somebody who comes from family, then my life will be substantially better. I can erase my past or my traumas will be healed. And so I think for this particular character, she was looking for the romanticism and an escape from her own reality. And it just came by way of a relationship. And I don't think she really knew what love is. And a lot of times we really don't know what love is until we begin to go through a self discovery
Mhm.
journey.
Hopefully.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think that um I don't think I don't think she was in love with him, and I don't think it was necessarily the lifestyle that he could provide. I think in general, like you guys were saying, the idea of him, but because I feel like she was more like trying to find her soulmate. Like I feel like she just latched onto him and tried to fit him into that mold. And because he said the right things, it was like, "Oh, this is it."
Mhm.
But personally, I feel like having a soulmate, you would not go through what stuff she went through.
Mhm.
Um, like I know things come with struggle, but that's not the kind of struggle.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like she was just trying to fit him into a mold. Of course, it was always a bonus that he comes from money, has money, all those kinds of things. Especially because she, is not necessarily comes from money, but she's like they were saying financially literate and knows how to maneuver, and she, she's an entrepreneur or whatever you want to call it. Um, not an entrepreneur, but so I think that it was like, okay, well, you kind of line up on paper in terms of what I'm looking for. You
Mm-hmm.
you talk the way that I would want the person I'm with to talk. Like the love bombing obviously worked. But I don't I feel like she did not, like, he was not the one, just
Mm-hmm.
overall.
Right.
Um and because he's not the one, like, I feel like she tried to use everything else to make it fit because, like, I don't know. Like, I think she's just chasing the idea of a soulmate. And then of course I think trying to model it after her parents, because when you see a good relationship, you want a good relationship, and then, all those things. So you kind of accept less than what you should for the sake of, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that it was a combination of all those things. And maybe, and this could just be a little bit of a reach, but maybe the kind of fear of ending up alone like her mom. Granted, it wasn't because the relationship ended, it's because he died. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't necessarily about his status. Like, that helped it, but that wasn't it. But it wasn't love for real.
Hmm. I agree. Hmm. That was powerful. And the phone call distracted me. I'm sorry.
It's
Um,
okay.
what was I to say? That I was gonna say about soulmates. I think the perception of soulmates drives a lot of women's fear of combating loneliness and depression and like ending up with 50 cats and in your house and dying alone. Like
Not
that
the cats.
yeah, like the stereotype alive and well in communities in different cultures. Like sometimes people do prefer the arranged marriage, so they don't have to go through that. Also, I think when it comes to that type of thing, we talked about this in the chat, like soulmates perception. Mm, I think you could be your own soulmate, and your the person that you're with have to be the reflection of your soul, not somebody that can just check off a bunch of boxes and looks good on paper. Like I understand it now at this age when people be like, when you see people like Coretta Scott King after Martin died, she never remarried, she never got with anybody else. Like that, they had a mission and an assignment so greater than their love, and then their love multiplied through their children. But that's a reflection, and I would say of an example of a soulmate. Like this person was so extraordinary that they could not step into somebody, nobody else could step into that position. That what I would think as a soulmate.
Yeah, even down to to bring it more modern, Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Like, they may not have
Mhm.
been together for a long, long time, but she spoke afterwards. She was like, I've never received love and shared love with someone the way she did with Nip. And she was like, because of the amount of love that we shared between us, like, I'm good. I don't need to find another person. Like, I know I'm never going to find that kind of love before. She's like,
Mm,
I'm perfectly fine, going at this alone and raising her kids. And, she's not looking to, he left big shoes to fill, and she's not looking for any,
Somebody else to step in.
yeah.
Right.
Mm. I don't know. Would you rather be in her shoes, or would you feel propelled to kind of be with someone else?
I think if it was somebody that I'm just like, we just had the best love ever felt thing. I don't think that well, one, I know it wouldn't be, if it was, it would not be immediate. I think I would be doing a lot of soul searching, reflecting, trying to process my grief, heal all these things. So
Mm,
I would not want to engage with another person. I don't think I would have the space to really engage with another person.
mm,
Um, but I feel like sometimes that, people do when they are grieving, they latch on to something, that some type of comfort, and unfortunately, a lot of times those are not good comforts. Those are, it's like this feels good because you're trying to fill a void, but this is not the void filler. Like you want to fill the void with love, not cement. Like,
Mhm.
um,
That
so
part.
I've spoken to people who have, lost spouses and had to go through grief counseling, and it's like you should not, in like at least within the first year, you should not be looking to date. Like you need to process all of this, and because you can open, you're an open wound, and you can let something in that's going to infect, and that's
Mhm.
detrimental to your healing. And then, if you're, I mean, obviously not everybody comes together. You don't come together whole. Some, you come together as you are.
Mhm.
But I feel that when you lose a person, obviously you feel like there's a piece of you that's missing, but you should, personally, I have not had this experience. I hope to never have this experience, but I would hope that I would work on filling the void myself and not look for another person to do that. And honestly, the best thing you can do is work on yourself. And if you happen to meet somebody, cool. If you don't, at least you've worked on yourself and you're comfortable and you're good where you stand.
Agree, agree. I have a follow-up question to that, but I'm going to ask it later. So just say, what was your follow-up question? And they'll bring it back to me.
Okay.
I'll be like, what did I say? Okay. How much did money, success, status, and lifestyle influence the character's relationship decisions? So I think we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I think just knowing the character Jada, I think, like we said before, aspirational, not wanting to have the repeat of what her mother has gone through, even though it was through loss of her partner or her husband, that fear can still kind of sit with you when you don't see it in real life. You see it
Mhm.
celebrity relationships, but those are kind of like surface
You don't
level.
know if it's real.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's really obtainable. So if you don't see it in your day to day, you're kind of like, maybe I have to create it on my own. So I think, dealing with a successful partner or a partner from a wealthy family definitely kind of helps incentivize the love story a little bit. What do you,
Hmm.
Amanda? Would you think she would still have felt the same way about Wellington if Wellington was, what's a funny name for a broke person? If his name was a Brown or Johnson Smith.
Not Johnson. He was just a regular Williams.
Nine to five,
Millennial.
he got his little
A little Williams.
his little two-bedroom apartment, his mom is in his life, he love his parents, but he on the come up, but he ain't there yet. But does love change? Does love? Well, does money factor into love if you're looking for your soulmate?
um, well, honestly, first, I think you have to figure out what you want in a soulmate because some people might want a soulmate, but might not want them to be rich, might not want them
Mm-hmm.
to have a lot of money or have a lot of status. So you kind of have to figure that out first. But in my opinion, but
Mm.
I think that I don't. I think that she trying to see. What was the question? I mean, I know the question was, what was my answer? Um,
And you said, what was my answer? So it was asking if money impacts your decision to love. Like, is it important?
I no. I mean, I don't think. Well, me personally, it doesn't impact my decision to love. It probably impacted hers. Maybe no, it didn't because I feel like like we said, she was in love with the idea of him. So
Mm.
there was really the money wasn't really a factor. But yeah.
Hey, Hey, Latoya, welcome to the discussion. So we're talking about Soulmates Dissipate. So we were asking with the character Wellington, of course, we know that he comes from money, he's wealthy. And how does money, if at all, impacts a relationship or your decision to search for your soulmate? Do you think the character would have still been ambitious to date this character if he was a regular 9 to 5 guy?
Oh, that's a good question. Hey, everybody. I
Hey.
was, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good. I would say it seemed like it didn't seem like she was as focused on his money. I don't know. It seemed like she had her own thing going on. I don't think she was necessarily fixated on that. But I
Mhm.
do wonder if she would have had that draw to him if he was a regular 9 to 5. I don't, that is a good question. I wonder if she would be as appealed, if he would appeal to her.
Mhm.
Um, if he was just a typical 9 to 5. So I'm not sure about that. It's like on one hand, I don't think she
He
wanted
was
his
a gold digger,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. It seemed like she may have still wanted to be with somebody that on I don't know what her level is, but she still wants somebody that made more than she did. She probably still her energy may have given that too. So that
Mhm.
is a good question. Yeah. So that's how I feel about that, about her.
Okay,
Mhm.
so let's move on. So, which character frustrated you the most? And please come with the receipts, because there were a few characters that were just like, I just wanted to strangle because I knew them in real life. So, particularly one of the characters that kind of drove me crazy was definitely Melanie. I didn't really care for Melanie. Melanie felt like a pawn in this whole entire narrative, and she was annoying. She was persistently annoying, and I felt like the mother was annoying as well because
Mhm.
she was so judgmental, and she come from this pedigree. And if you don't really know people's hearts, you know what I mean, just know them off of what you see. She didn't really give Jada a fair chance to become a part of her family, and I didn't think that was fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. Those are the two that annoyed me the most. Those are the two that annoyed me the most, and I was just like, and Melody, she was like crafty but still dense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was like, why are you so you're crafty? You're like, so you have you have intelligence, but at the same time, you come off like you don't got no sense. At the
Right.
same time, like you're very gullible. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's how I felt. And the mom was just like, I'm like, oh my goodness, she is just too much to deal with. I personally, I'm in a phase of my life that if the mother of a man was difficult, I would just end it. Like I'm at that point because I just have had enough. I guess I've had enough experience
Mm-hmm.
with my own personal life that I just find that when the family is weird or the family is
Mm-hmm.
not welcoming, it's not worth it because it's
Yeah.
going to just get worse down the line. And look at to the extremes that the mother went
Right.
to try to separate them. So I wish she would have had the insight to just move on. And if it was meant to be, then it would be meant to be, you know?
That's a very valid point. I completely agree. What did you have to add, Ashley?
I was gonna say the mom. Like, yeah, Melanie was annoying, but she was fueled by the mother.
Mm,
Like the way the mother, and I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was the I feel like it was the narrator because some parts she would make her sound like she was like from an island, and
yeah.
then she'd make her sound kind of like snooty. So I was like, well, is she one of them like people from the island that made money and now she looks down on other people? Like I was very like, your accent throws me off. But anyways, um, the mother and just her blatant disrespect and the fact that he never checked her until it was way too late,
Mm-hmm.
and Jada being, wanting to I'll say keep the peace, but like she clocked that she was being disrespected, but the fact that she was so determined to just be this type of way, she never spoke about it to him. Like, not saying she gotta, clap back, but to at least be like, yeah, your mom, the way your mom talks to me, about me, around me, I don't appreciate, something. Like, and
Mhm.
the fact that you're not doing that because you're trying to hold on to this belief should tell you right then and there, this is not what you think it is,
Mm.
because you should be able to say what you need to say and
Mhm.
him understand whether he agrees or not. Y'all be able to have that conversation. I mean, it goes without saying, of course, Melanie, with her just ridiculousness, but I'll say, besides the mom, Wellington got on my nerves.
Yes.
Wellington got on my nerves. His lack of boundaries,
Mm.
I feel almost like his weaponized incompetence. I feel like he knew what he was doing to try to be like, I didn't know. No, you knew. You knew. You just didn't think you was gonna get caught like this, but you knew.
Right.
Like, absolutely not. So honestly, throw that whole family away. And especially with the reveal that you was raggedy back in the day and you trying to stunt on people who just trying to live right and do things.
Right.
Ma'am, check your own mileage before you come for me. Like, what?
For real.
So just trifling. Just yeah, I agree. I was thinking of Wellington when you said, I was like, he kind of got on my nerves super under the surface, and I couldn't quite pinpoint why he was getting on my nerve. But that's because the mother enabled him, and the mother and son relationship was just so weird and off-putting. Like Latoya said, like I've had the relationship where the mother did not embrace me, or you don't feel embraced within a family dynamic. It never gets better. It never goes away. It continues to grow and get worse because the elephant is in the room, and the
Mm-hmm.
mother perceive you as like a threat. And you may be the most nicest, humblest, kindest person, but if the mother does not open her arms and receive you in the family, there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
to do.
There's
Yeah.
always gonna be a point of contention.
Yes, absolutely. What's your
But
take on it? I'm sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
I was gonna say, but it's not on you to fix that. You can only speak about how
Exactly.
you feel. So that's the point where your partner needs to understand and be able to set some type of boundaries. And he didn't do that until it was too late.
Mhm.
um, the character that got on my nerves the most, honestly, was the mother because, like, I kind of got the vibe that she was part of like organizations.
Mhm.
So like this is kind of like off the subject, but like maybe like Greek organizations, you know how some the sororities are like they have their what do you call them? They have like characteristics that they're known by, and
Mm,
uh, some of the
I know where you're
characteristics.
going with this, and I agree.
Yeah.
I know where you're
So
going with this, and I get what you're saying. Yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's kind of like that. Like she really gave me a certain organization, like stuck up, snotty,
Sadism.
very yes. I was looking for that word, but
Mhm.
she and she kind of gave me like no one's good enough for my son. It kind of gave like a Oedipus complex. And
Mm.
Mm.
ew. It's
Definitely. Yeah, that's what I was trying. That's what I was kind of hinting on as well. Like sometimes women have that, like my son is my husband
mm,
mentality type of thing,
yeah,
and no woman has ever
She
said anything.
had a husband.
That's what I'm saying. If the husband wasn't there, but of course, but
yeah,
some women do still have that for that type of love for their sons. Is I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but the relationship was just off putting.
very.
Ugh.
And another one, another character was of course Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
As was it Melanie or Melody? I think it was
Melanie.
Melanie. Okay.
Melanie.
Yeah, she was just No, she was just delusional to me.
Mm.
Just very delusional, very gotta have it my way. But I don't know because all of them joining in on the act was very, it threw me off
So you
because
Yes.
way ahead of the conversation. We ain't even got there yet, Amanda. Okay.
okay, my bad. I was jumping all through the book, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
done. Next question.
Okay, so let's start with the twist here. Were there any characters you disliked initially but understood better by the end of the book?
I would say, believe it or not, I would say it'll be Melanie and Wellington. I feel like I kind of understood um with Melanie when I look at it seemed like she struggled with having, I guess, the acceptance of her mother and being
Mhm.
compared to her twin sister, not just a sister, but her twin sister. So that's another layer. So it made me understand her desperation to have acceptance and approval. So it made me feel, I had some level of like empathy or
Mm-hmm.
passion for her because of that. Then Wellington, like that was just a whole, I had to like wrap my mind around that whole story about how he became to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just like, wow. I said, now this makes sense because I was like, this is just weird how this mom is just going through such measures and it's not even her biological son.
Right.
And there's just a lots of secrets in the family. And so I understood his resentment, but then I kind of understood it's just it was just so yeah, I just understood after the fact why he was the way he is.
Mm.
Why he was the way he is. Yeah. Those are the
Hmm.
two that stood out the most.
Very interesting take. I definitely empathize with Wellington with the non-biological parents and having that desire to have connection with your biological parents. And I definitely empathize with Melanie as well, willing to live up to this false standard of acceptance that your mother has created. In comparison, as they say, is the thief of joy. It really is true. Um, in Melanie's experience, and I kind of empathize more so with Melanie also, just because if you're living in that type of peril, you'll never know true joy because you'll always be at the mercy of somebody else's game, whether it is the mother, her own mother, or Wellington's mother. I didn't really have that perspective until you just actually said that. But the character that I completely understood more was Jada when she went through that therapy session and the therapist's advice to learn to love yourself first. And I know growing up for me, especially hearing that, like loving yourself, like, really, I love myself, but you don't really know what the extent of that means. And it kind of sounds cliche when people say, like, girl, all you got to do is just love yourself. But nobody teaches you how to love yourself. People just give you the advice of love yourself. Yeah. And it's like, but I do, but I don't know how. And so I think that advice, when I heard the narrator kind of break that down through that character, it really resonated more with me, like from my childhood and my adult relationships. I thought I was loving myself, but when I was in these relationships, I really didn't love myself the way that I thought I should love myself. So
Mhm.
completely, I didn't like the character at the beginning, but I understood her more and I wanted better for her when I see someone going through that type of situation, when you are putting yourself on trial, as they say. Ashley or Amanda?
I'm still working through mine. You can go
Okay.
ahead, Amanda.
Amanda, you
um,
need something?
can you repeat the question? I do need you to repeat the question.
So the question was, what character, or were there any characters that you disliked initially but understood better by the end of the book?
um, That I disliked initially.
If there were none, you don't have to. You can just skip it. But just a
Uh,
question: like, did you like the mother in the end, or you still disliked her?
I still dislike the mother, but I kind of I kind of understood in a in an off kind of way why she was the way she was
Mm-hmm.
after the reveal, but I still disliked her.
True. Mm-hmm.
But Wellington, I disliked him, but again, after the reveal, I kind of understood. It kind of, hold on.
Okay, we're gonna come back to Amanda. So, what role did secrets and dishonesty play in destroying relationships that might otherwise have survived? We'll start with you.
Um, oh, okay. Secrets and dishonesty. So I'm trying to run back everything in the book because I feel like I have so many different books in my head. Um,
So, this one of the secrets was that Wellington had slept with Melanie before
beforehand,
it
yeah.
happened. Mm-hmm.
I I feel like obviously because he had already been there, which is why he was really like, let's go for the tryst. Um, I feel like if that was really the person that you want to spend your life with, create a family or share everything with, that wouldn't happen. No matter how tempting Melanie was, like you not saying you have on blinders, but you should have on blinders.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely was strike one. And then for him to want to see, like, if you know that, Jada's not comfortable with this kind of thing, like, why are you kind of trying to press, like, even though it was Melanie that was like pushing it, he could have been like, nah, we don't got to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but he was ready to see it through. Um, I feel like, I, I've never been in that situation, but I feel like if anybody in the situation is voicing that they're uncomfortable, regardless of, oh, we're just playing a game, no, like everything stops. Just because you add an extra person doesn't mean no, doesn't mean no. No is no. If I'm uncomfortable, nobody's having fun because now I have to turn up.
Right.
But that one, and then granted, Jada didn't want to like hear from him after the whole, oh, they're getting married and pregnant and da 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 da, and Melanie definitely orchestrated a lot to it. Um, it seemed like he didn't try. Like, if this is the person that you want to be with, regardless of, oh, I gotta make a right, I gotta do the right thing by this woman. I can't have her out here. No. Yes, you shouldn't have her out here because you did play a part in this. But also,
Mm-hmm.
if the person that you love and want to be with, I'm chasing after her. I don't care about you. Because if you're
Right.
gonna have my baby, you're gonna have my baby. But this is the person I want to be with. And like, I just feel like he really didn't put a fight into it.
Right.
And that right there is just like canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel subscription. No, thank you. Block.
Your free trial has expired. Thank you for your participation.
Right. And I'm keeping the ring.
Agree. Latoya, what's your take?
Um, I when it Melanie, I felt like she was willing to lie by any means necessary, and so much so that, like Amanda mentioned, she was delusional, and the man told you that he was not in love with you, that it was just sex, and you are still pushing it because you want to have approval from your mother. And so that to me stands out in ways in which just thinking about how many times do people in general lie to themselves and push through
Mm,
and force relationships and situations because they want to fit in or whatever it is. And so that to me stood out a lot. And also just Wellington and his lack of discipline. And I didn't really care for it. Was just, to me, it was just so I don't know. I felt like his character was predictable. Like everything that I felt like was going to happen with him.
Mhm.
And I just feel like how he can handle women the way he do, but when it comes to his mother, he falls in line, even when it doesn't feel right. That blew me
Mhm.
right. That right there. So those stood out. And even with Jada, her line, I felt like she was abandoning herself and lying to herself about what she felt. And it's just pushing it instead of just leaving. And it just makes me think of how many times people, or we as women, or just people in general, just we have gut feelings and it's just obvious and we don't trust it and we just stay there. I just think about those times in the past where I just stayed in situations and when I could have just left
Mhm.
and avoided the heartache. But you learn, you live and you learn. So that's my take on it.
I think, like, to your point, I think we don't consider leaving as an option because, as we discussed earlier, fear is a part of the decision to stay.
Right.
Fear of not living up to standards, fear of loneliness, fear of not being accepted into the family, fear of what other people are thinking when they're
Mhm.
actually involved in the relationship. And so
Mhm.
fear is, we give too much power to fear, and we lack the ability to leave when we know something is wrong. And I think for this particular story, there was a lot of dishonesty. There was dishonesty in the introduction of Melanie. There was dishonesty in Jada's relationship with Wellington, of what the potential, of what it was or what it could be. Wellington's relationship to Jada, of who she represented in his life. If he was more committed to the relationship, like Ashley said, Melanie would have not even had an inch. He wouldn't
No space.
have the relationship in that way. And I think, like what you said too, Latoya, like sexual discipline is a very important thing in this
Mhm.
narrative, and he lacked integrity, and he didn't hold his own self accountable for the relationship that he created with Jada. And Jada, I think she really betrayed herself, but she also created this narrative of this relationship, and it kind of backfired on her in a way that a lot of women can relate to. And like they say, the truth is always there, whether you decide to accept it or not. It is the truth. And so when you're in this type of situation with Wellington, his mother, all the red flags were pointing into, this is not the situation for you. But as long as as Yala always says, you're not uncomfortable yet. You're not that uncomfortable. And so that's something that always plays into my own mind of how uncomfortable am I in this situation? Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, work, whatever. I
Mhm.
I kind of measure out my comfort level. And if my comfort level is going over the meter, it's time to go. And so I think that's something that Jada could have learned within this situation as well. So let's talk a little bit about her friendship with Candace. What were your ladies' take on her as her friend?
I feel
I
like
feel
Candace tried to ground her.
Mm,
yes.
I feel like Candace tried to bring her. Sorry, sorry, I'm sorry. Um, like Candace tried to like keep her in note of like, I don't like this. This don't look good. Like she was throwing the flags for her, like big old signs, and she still just kept on. And without being the "I told you so," she
mm,
politely reminded her like, "Hey, I tried to bring these up to you, and now look what the situation is."
mm,
And I feel like Candace was a real friend to her, and even down to like, encouraging her at the end, like, "Look, this is what you want to do, but I think you should come with me."
mm,
Um,
mhm.
so yeah, I'm a fan of Candace. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead, Latoya.
Oh yeah. As far as Candace, I feel like she's a good friend. That's my take on it. So she's a great friend. And she reminds me of the type of friends that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just is like, just keep it real. That'll just be like, hey, like, this is what I'm seeing going on. And so it's good to have friends like that around. I feel like she just says just the obvious. And, she's one of those type of friends that even if you don't receive it initially, you sit with it and you think about it, and then you can move forward with it. Yeah.
Agreed. Amanda, what's your take?
I feel like Candace was a very good friend as well. But I also felt like Candace was Jada's intuition outside of her body.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Candace knew Wellington wasn't right for her. Candace knew that Jada needed to, do something different, be with him, focus on herself. I mean, yeah, Candace was definitely, I mean, she was on her side, but that's like any good friend that
Mm-hmm.
would that would tell you this is what you want to do, then you should do it. But I feel like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to do a little bit more thought work with it. Like you need to think, you need to do a little bit more deeper thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have friends like that as well, and I truly appreciate them because if it wasn't for them, I'd be in some shit right now, for real.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I said, I feel like Candace was her intuition outside of her body. So a
Those are the
very
friends
good
you need.
friend.
A really
Yeah.
good way to look at it. I really like that. No feedback on me. I could agree with everyone said. So a bonus question, since Amanda brought it up earlier, pertaining to menage a trois. Okay, so when I was audiobooking this book, so when I heard this play out, I was like, wait a minute, she's not. And I was like, not. But then she did, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, there's no going back. I'm the type of person, if you open Pandora's box, you're going to get what Pandora's going to bring you. And so I was kind of disappointed that Jada did not stop at that point. She allowed this to happen and then was surprised by what the negative consequence was. What was your take on it?
I would say that it showcased Jada's lack of boundaries, just in general. It just lack of boundaries. Even when she came to his house and Melanie was there, and she just, that to me, that was a telltale sign that something was up and that you may need to fall back and kind of stand your ground with him, and how he was giving pushback. So to me, that's what it highlighted to me, just her giving in. And another highlight is she was so caught up, and that's why when men start saying that we're this or that I'm that, I don't get caught up in it anymore like I used to when I was younger. But like, she got caught up on the words, we're soulmates, and I'm just like, girl. I was like, so what? Like, it's just a label. I don't know. I was just like, she was just so caught up in that. We're soulmates.
Yes.
I was like, girl. But yeah, so she was just caught up in that, in that illusion or whatever. But to me, that's what it stood out. It's the lack of boundaries.
Very well
Yeah.
said.
I was like, this is wild.
Honestly, I don't know how it would have got that far, because if we in the middle of a session and she walks in,
Right.
I don't care how many drinks I've had. No, girl, what are you doing? Get out. Why are you this comfortable?
Right.
Why are you this comfortable with her being this comfortable? I don't trust none of y'all. Like, no, there's no way. There is no situation where I will ever be that comfortable. One, first of all, ew, I don't want to see anybody having sex, especially not in front of me. But like, no, like, if I walked into a room and oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. That should have
Right.
given you a sign number one that she just was just unfazed by it. But then
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's not saying anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and she said they had these conversations before where he's asked and she said no. And what makes you think that this would make a difference? Like, I honestly, I feel like I don't know how she didn't think this was a setup, because
Right.
both of y'all are way too comfortable. There was no like, oh, let me try and
No, of
reassure
course, no
you.
talking.
No, like nothing. It was just, oh, let's play a game. No, like way too comfortable. But to not really there's not really a but to that point. I just, like you were saying, Latoya, like her boundaries just didn't exist. And for her, I'm glad she kind of came to the light about it. Um, she definitely was caught up on the soulmate whole thing. Like, you should have known, like, he's talking this mess, it ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like she searching for that soulmate, like willing to let things happen, for her to have a bad Jada and he's never seen it, and his like you messed up, but he leaned on the, I didn't know that you could act like this. I don't know how I feel about
Right.
let's play the game called cause and effect. Why did I
Right.
act like this? It wasn't just,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't just flip a switch and go crazy. What happened? So like
Right.
even down to, she had no boundaries and he had no accountability, and they both lost out. Maybe, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I would consider it a complete loss, but they both lost out. um it was just disgusting. And I also, since I audiobooked it, I was like, wait, this not about to,
Right.
we're not, like this is not about to happen right now. This is happening, okay.
Right.
I was on the train at like 7 something in the morning, like, oh wow, this is not how I expected my day to start. So yeah.
I don't. First of all, let me start this by saying I don't know any brand of champagne that can make you that drunk to get
Mm-hmm.
yourself into a threesome.
Right.
Never have I ever like drunk champagne that can do that to you. So let's start with that. But no, I I'm just I'm still shell shocked. I'm still clutching my pearls. I'm just it's it's very disturbing. I don't
Mm.
know.
Hmm.
Like Latoya said, like Ashley said, there was a lack of boundaries on Jada's behalf, as well as the lack of accountability on Wellington's behalf. So
Hmm.
yeah, but that for sure.
Okay.
I,
Yeah,
I
that
still
level of drunk, you're right.
I can't really get it across because I'm still but yeah.
Okay. So next question is, hmm, where do you draw the line between forgiving someone and disrespecting yourself?
Mm.
Wait.
Mm.
I'm gonna start and then we'll go to Latoya. That's a heavy question, and
A loaded question.
forgiving forgiveness is easy for me because I have boundaries now at this place in my life.
Mm.
Like the character Jada, I can see myself being more flexible and compromising in situations for the sake of connection with
Mm.
someone who has anxious attachment style. And so I would compromise my willingness to do something to please, to make happy, or whatever it took for my partner to stay in connection. And when my partner would violate me, I would immediately forgive, but also disrespect myself. And so what I have
Mm.
learned through those situations is first identify your boundaries and your non-negotiables.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how attractive, beautiful, whatever the other person is. If you know yourself, you would never allow that. And so, even in a situation of another woman coming into a situation, that would never happen because I would not allow that. That's not something I'm not joking about it. I don't agree with that lifestyle. That's not for me. So I would never associate myself with a partner who would even invite that into our situation. So I don't allow even subtle disrespect. If it is cloth in a joke and you're disrespecting me, I don't like that. That's a violation. And I think I heard Iyanla said it's a violation of our agreement or something of that nature. Like we are in agreement when we're in a relationship. And if you violate that agreement, even through disrespect or even through disloyalty, dishonesty, it's a violation of the covenant of our relationship. And I don't play that. And so anytime that occurs, it has to go. And so that's how I'm easy able to easily forgive and let people move on. I don't hold people hostage in relationship with me any longer. If you're ready to go, the door is always open, and it's the same door that you can enter, but you cannot re-enter the same way that you came in as well. There's a boundary there. Now, if allow you to come back into my life, now I'm looking at you a little bit more with scrutiny. How are you going
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to, you know what I mean? So I people say, how do you forgive when someone has hurt you? It's not about them forgiving, it's me forgiving myself in that relationship. That person, that version of me who I was in that relationship, that's the person that I have to forgive for allowing that. So that's how I distinguish forgiving someone else and disrespecting yourself.
Yes. You said a lot of what I agree with. Yes. So the boundaries part is the biggest thing, and that forgiveness is never about the other person. It's
It's
more
for
so
you.
about you. It's for you
Mhm.
to let go. And yes, I recently saw a video in relation to this, and someone was talking about like having emotional safety, is the importance of
Mhm.
emotional, physical, all types of safety in a relationship, and how sometimes it's difficult for men to understand that, and
Mhm.
the importance of that, and how to compromise when it comes to that, so that the woman can feel safe. And
Mhm.
so and how it feels like you're abandoning yourself, which is a form of disrespecting yourself. And I can wholeheartedly relate to that. And that's one of the reasons why I got a divorce, is because of that constant cycle of feeling like am I going to, I'm not going to be my true self if I
Mhm.
am in a relationship or a marriage where I don't feel like I'm safe, because I feel like I have to constantly save myself. I don't feel covered or protected. That's the point of it. So to me,
Mm.
it's like, it's the importance of forgiving whatever happened between me and my ex-husband, forgiving that, but at the
Mhm.
same time remembering that that this happened, and that we are best separate and co-parenting. So to me, I feel like you said it wholeheartedly. It's just about having boundaries, and it's not really about the other person. It's about you, and about how you, when you forgive, you let go, and it ushers in room for new things, and new
Mhm.
beginnings. And because sometimes when we stay stuck in resentment, that it's like having a closed hand. It
Yes.
closes you up to a lot,
Mhm.
on an energetic level, and then you're carrying it into the next relationship. So
Mhm.
for me, it's not, to forgive someone doesn't mean that you're disrespecting yourself. But it's, to me, it's a journey to forgiveness. Like, it's to me, it's levels to forgiveness. It's not easy to forgive.
Mhm.
It's not easy. And sometimes you may think that you have forgiven, and it's like, okay, I may have forgiven to a degree, but there's another layer or onion that
Mhm.
I have to unpeel. But it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that it's not progressing or whatnot. So I feel like this is a very great question, because I know sometimes people think that if you forgive somebody, then, how can you forgive that person? I would never. And I'm like, but then you just holding yourself hostage. It's like that
Mm-hmm.
saying says about drinking, drinking poison. I
Mm,
think there's a saying about that.
mm,
You think that
Holding
you're something
your
against the other person when it's really is you're suffering
you.
more.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Ashley?
Well, um, y'all have been saying words with this one. Um, so I remember for myself, like probably I'll say 10 years ago now, I had a coworker and I was telling him about this guy that I was dating at the time. And, I'm just looking for male perspective. And he didn't really give me like male perspective on the situation. He just like stopped me, looked me straight in my face and said, "Don't disrespect yourself." And I was
Mm,
like, "Well, what do you mean?" He would not go any further. He was like, "Don't disrespect yourself." Like, and I had to really kind of sit with that because it's like, well, how am I disrespecting myself? And it's like, well, if I'm talking about the way I'm being treated and I'm not happy, then I'm doing myself a disservice. I am disrespecting myself because I want more, I deserve more, I should have more. And in a way, that's kind of been like my litmus test with how I look at relationships go moving forward from that point of like, don't disrespect yourself. Like, don't do anything that you feel would be a detriment. And if this situation is detrimental to any aspect of you, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, psychological, whatever, spiritual, then that is a disrespect.
mm,
And for that, now I will say that I have not been, I don't have, I, no, I don't have, but I have had to work over the years for boundaries and discovering my boundaries with things. So, it's like it goes hand in hand, in terms of having a boundary but not disrespecting yourself.
mhm,
You're respecting yourself by having that boundary. And if
mm,
somebody hits that boundary, like you can hit it, realize you hit it, and maybe go a different way or know that you can't go that way. But if you hit that boundary and continue try to break through, then it's complete disrespect. And at that point, all bets are off and how you handle it is how you handle it. Don't
mhm.
don't don't end up on a t-shirt or behind somebody's bars. But
Mhm.
like I just feel like when you have the boundary, the respect and disrespect line is there. And whether
Mhm,
you choose to allow that person to cross that boundary and disrespect you, then that's a personal choice. And there's some accountability that needs to happen, some self-reflection, because you can't get mad at that other person if you've already set the boundary and you let them get past it.
mm, mm. No, no.
So yeah, that's it.
Amanda, you still processing? You want to come back?
I know. I think I have it. um, my answer is kind of personal, but
Okay.
um, I would say that forgiveness is more important. For you forgiving yourself is more important because let me see, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I was in a relationship and it was a long distance relationship. So I knew initially not to get, too emotionally involved because I wouldn't be able to see this person for real. I'd just be able to call, text, FaceTime. We wouldn't be able to see each other in person. So everything was fine and all. And eventually it came to a point where he was telling me that he had this friend is a girl, red flag, number one, and that she was having a baby, and that he decided that he was going to step up and help her take care of her child
Mm,
because the guy
Mm-mm.
wasn't there and, wasn't physically there. Like she didn't, or something like she didn't know who he was, or she knew who he was and knew that he wouldn't be open to taking care of this child, being responsible for his child. And I was like, okay, I mean, it threw red flags, of course, but I was like, I think maybe because I really wanted to be in a relationship with him,
Mm,
I really wanted what we had. So I kind of let it fly under the radar. I was just like, okay, whatever, cool. Then later on, after we ended up breaking up, which was probably like a year or so later, I found out that the baby was his.
mm,
That
Mm,
ended up
mm.
I knew it.
he ended up getting her pregnant, and the baby was his. And I was just like, now I have to go and do my own inner work. I have to forgive myself for doing this
Mm,
BS because I really put myself through this for no reason. Like, so yeah, I think forgiveness is more important,
mm,
especially when it comes to you forgiving yourself. I mean, you can, I feel like if you forgive yourself, you kind of have to close that door. You can't open it back up. You can't let them back
Mhm,
through. You have to
mhm.
push them forward. So,
mm. Wow, I'm so
yeah.
sorry that happened, Amanda.
Yeah,
A year is too.
Girl,
yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
he got his karma. I'm good.
Oh yeah, they always get their karma. Oh yeah, I went through something similar, but it was worse because it was not even a relate. It was a situationship for a whole year,
Mm,
and and then he said, and then he ended up, we fell out, and he ended up dating someone after that, and he was involved with that person the whole time. We were like pretty much during the time period we were involved. He said I was seeing both of y'all at the same time, and then he
mm,
set me down. He was like, and she's pregnant. I
Mm,
was just like I could tell he was afraid to tell me because we were face to face when it happened. But yeah, so I get it. And he recently followed me on Instagram and was trying to get back in contact with me, and I ignored it. So I
mm.
get it. They always get their karma back. Yeah. So
they do.
yeah, yeah,
The
he got
audacity.
his.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Good luck with that, Chuck.
Hmm.
I would say good luck with that and just walk off like I don't have no time,
Yeah.
no energy, or no sympathy for you. But anyway, back to the book. This book was originally published more than 2 decades ago. What parts of the relationship drama feel very much of its era, and what parts could happen in 2026 without changing a thing?
Mm. What parts could happen in 2026? I would say the lust, just that being the sex,
Mm,
and you know at in 2026 they would be considered friends with benefits. They
mm,
wouldn't be, they wouldn't really be considered soulmates or even working towards being soulmates. They would be friends with benefits, or this would be an extreme situationship. But
mm.
it wouldn't be. It would definitely be Soulmates Dissipate. But
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think the 2026 version of this would be they would be polyamorous.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
mm,
Hmm.
Um, the two women would be together, or they would bring in the man type of thing for survival type of narrative. Because
Hmm.
I think the late 2000s are all about survival and desperation and exploiting yourself for survival. So they would be more so the parents, the mom would not even be in the conversation. I think it would be in marriage would even be a part of the conversation of narrative. Soulmates would just be like, if they want some spiritual stuff, that wouldn't even come up in the conversation. I think this story would have all the narrative of Krishan and Blueface, and the allure of what love represents today, and that is just a lustful relationship. We're just using each other until we can no longer use each other any longer. Relationships today are more so transactional, for
Mm-hmm.
self pleasure or financial gain, or what's the other one? More so exposure for your resources, really, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
what we are within relationships. And a lot of people don't really believe in love nowadays, and so some people still do, and they get used and abused and cry on social media. And then the others, the very 2%, find that rare gem that does still have the same reflected values and actually do get married. So I don't say that I still believe in quote unquote soulmates. I've never really said that word ever in my life, but I do believe that there is someone for everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody deserves to be in a healthy, committed, monogamous relationship, not just a
Mhm.
relationship based off of you got a house and a car and a good paying job. We should be together because I'm 2 weeks from being put out with 6 kids. Like,
Oh,
Right.
honestly,
you think that's a healthy relationship? So,
honestly, I feel like if people could learn how to not let society's expectations influence them,
mhm,
then they would have a better and easier time finding that person.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
We're not gonna I'm not even gonna get into the social media aspect of it because
mhm,
that has just made everything into a clusterfuck.
mhm,
Um, but I feel like there's the expectation, and of course it comes from generations down of like you need to have a man, you need to have a woman, y'all need to have this, she needs to be able to be a mother, you need to be a provider. I hate that narrative because
mhm,
I feel like obviously that's more patriarchal. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we should, especially with all the knowledge that we have available to us nowadays, I feel like we should look past the whole idea of like men does this, women does that. Like you should look at it as a partnership. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that
mhm,
in terms of like opening it up for it doesn't have to be man, woman, it could be, whoever, but just
mhm,
whoever your person is, it should be a partner. It should not be, oh, you
mhm,
have these roles, you have that role. Then if you add in the social media aspect, it's a lot of people that just talking just to talk and have their conversation. And, the narrative has become the tired, oh, should a man pay for everything, the 50-50, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You add all that into it. And honestly, ugh. But I feel like partnership, like it's if you can get past the material aspect of it, there's so much more to a relationship than just what they can provide for you.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I will say that I was raised with, and this could be a good, it could be a bad thing, but I was always told that you need to make sure that you have everything. It's not about what they
mm,
can give you, it's what they
Right.
can add to you. Make sure you're
right,
good.
mhm,
You
Right.
what can you bring to my table that makes
mhm,
it better? Because I'm already doing this, and this. Like, don't look
mhm,
for somebody to fill your table or look for somebody to give you a table. Like you should be
right,
establishing your table, and they should come and
Mm-hmm.
add to it, not take from it, not halfway fix it slash break it.
mhm,
So I feel like, with that in mind, I don't look at it as like, oh, well, you're a man, you should do this, or oh, I'm a woman, I should do this. Now, that's not to say that I don't have those moments where I'm like, I should do these things, but that's because that's something I want to do, not because that's the expectation. And
mhm,
I'm thankful that I'm with someone that it does not have that expectation of like, oh, if I'm at work, you need to be cooking dinner. Like
Mm-hmm.
we offset and balance each other out. And I feel like if more people looked on that in terms of having the balance and not just what I can get from you, and then of course, oh, I
mhm,
didn't get this from you, so now I'm jaded, now I'm this, now I'm online ranting about whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Like it really doesn't, because all you're doing is you're sowing discord between so many people who think that this is what it should be, and not everybody is mentally strong and really do believe. And I feel like that's a big problem of people believe what they see on social media, when it's like people are doing this because it's content, because they know you'll be interested. They're not living these lives. And this isn't shade, so don't come for me, Minolta. Don't come for
right.
me before I say what I say. Don't come for me. I'm putting a
So
disclaimer. But perfect example would be Beyonce, and not just
Oh,
her,
God.
not just
Oh.
her. And if the hive comes for me, just let you know I'm accidental beehive, so I'm not shading her. But I'm saying that, and it's an old joke, but like, oh, she's pushing, they were pushing independent woman, independent woman, and then she's, let me cater to you. Like, what is this, kind of thing. And a lot of people took in that and believed in that, and then, it's like, yeah, independent woman, but I got my man. Bye, like, kind of thing. So I feel like if you're following the culture, whatever you want to call it, from that aspect, you're always going to have some type of imbalance, not know, because you're saying one thing but doing another. And I'm like, where do I follow? And it's like, you need to be able to stand on your own, have your own values, have your own things, and not be easily swayed. And I think that the problem is a lot of people are easily swayed and think that things are supposed to be, you think that this is the perfect plan, but you don't realize that your life is not going to be the same as what the plan is. Your life is going to fall short. And like I believe you were saying earlier, comparison is a thief of joy. You're going to compare yourself to this plan and to this timeline that they give you, and you're never going to be happy even if you accomplish a lot of things. So to that aspect, I'm just like, ugh, I'm sick of it, y'all. I'm sick of it.
Amanda or Latoya, which ladies wants to go first?
Yes, I agree. I love both of y'all's perspectives, and I agree. And I do feel like when it comes to that book, it would be the same thing. I feel like things haven't changed, honestly, when you look at books from 20 plus years ago and now. Nothing really has changed. If anything, I feel like social media has made it worse. I feel like individualism has made it worse. The capitalism, all this stuff, the emphasis on gender roles. And I would say I can't stand gender roles. Like, that's
Yep.
another variable is why I'm not married anymore. That was a problem. Like, especially when people are not honest about what they want. Like, you have to really be in tune with what you want, not what you saw your parents do, not what you saw other people do, not what you see your friends or social media. You have to really get in tune to who you are, know who you are, and know what your values are. And those values are extremely important in all aspects of your life, but especially when it comes to choosing like your life partner. Like, that is just extremely important. And as you mentioned, Bailey, not Ashley, I call you
Either way
that
works.
as you, yeah, but as you mentioned that it's it's not about um the gender role part, about the woman does this and the man does. It's about who fits that who does it the best or who is available. It's really about that. And so there's so much I can say. And also a good point that I believe you mentioned, Ashley, is the fact that you brought up Beyonce as an example of the independent woman and educated you. And to me, people have to understand, because a lot of people, I feel like, especially younger generation, they may not understand what reality is and what fantasy is, or what make believe is. And they also maybe they just not in the maturity. People don't have the maturity level, or some people just lack the awareness to understand that so many things can be true at the same time, and people can have a journey. Like, people have their journeys.
When you're young, you
And
don't
so
understand nuance.
yeah, the nuance of it all, because it's like it's so important for women. And so there's certain aspects I appreciate about it. I'm not a Beyonce stan, but I appreciate the how she had some of her music. I can tell it was influenced about her being a mom too, like with the especially with the girls um who run the world, that song, like stuff like that. I think that is extremely important. But then also the other aspect of Katie, I mean, to me, all of those things are important. Like, to a degree, I think that it's important for girls to be independent and know that they would roll and they can do anything. But at the same time, when you're in a relationship, it is important to have that aspect too. So it's just, there's nuance to everything. And it's just about just knowing who you are, and knowing what works for you in your life, and it doesn't negate what anybody else has going on. I mean, it's just, that's the biggest thing I find, is knowing who you
That
are. You
definitely,
gotta know who you are.
it's I feel like our, and I know I'm gonna sound old like back in my day, but I feel like our generation has a good grasp on the finding self. And I don't know if it's just because we've gotten older, our brains have fully developed. Because like you said, the person you are today is not the same person you were at 20, hopefully. And you understand nuance, but also you understand that everything isn't all or nothing. And I feel like a lot of what's being pushed online is like all or nothing. A lot of like media, music, shows, all these things. It's very all or nothing, and like it's shaping people to have that wrong perspective. And it's like, if you think that this is the way life goes, you're going to be disappointed time and time and again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna get humbled. And I feel like social media is doing a wonderful and terrible job at propping things up to humble a whole bunch of people a couple years down the line with that all or nothing mentality. And it's just like, I feel like we had music and some shows that kind of gave that to us. We didn't have the constant on nonstop. And that's why I was giving the example of like independent women to cater to you, because that was around the time that we were younger. We were absorbing that stuff. But it was just like, okay, and then we could turn the music off and go about life. Whether we go
Right.
outside, whether we read a book, whatever, we can go about life. There's nothing is turned off at this point. There's always a connection. So it's just constant feeding, and you're feeding people who are younger, who don't know, because they haven't had these world experiences, that they're getting set up for disappointment and not understanding nuance, because everything is, if you see it like this is what it is. It's not like, well, this is what it is, which is why there's so much, I feel, and I know I'm going on a rant with this, but I feel like the whole cancel culture stuff is like, oh, you said this one time in 1985 in a stand-up comedy, you're the worst. Like, and it's like, first of all, now, we look at stuff that we watched years ago and it's like, dang, how did they get away with saying this stuff? But you're not automatically like, oh, this is canceled. This new generation is like, oh, you're a terrible person. And it's like, no, it's not, we now know that it's not right, but in that moment in time, this is how the world found things funny. Like, so it's just, I feel like this new generation is not going to understand nuance, and it's going to make relationships and trying to find them so much harder, not just, and then add in the social media and the culture and the messaging that you're receiving. It's just going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of situationships, and probably continue, unless take the time to do better, a lot of continuous broken homes.
Right.
Okay, soapbox over. I'm done.
Yes, I agree with that. I feel like it starts at this point. It's like, as it starts at home at this point, especially I have a young, she's only 7, and I find that it's imperative that I have to monitor what she's exposed to. I don't let her touch technology like that. She's getting a 90s kid childhood. Like she can't touch.
I love that.
I don't even like her touching my phone. I'm like, no, you can't. Like, ever since she was young, I just think that that's part of the problem is, and I get why parents do it, because I can, when I went through a separation, divorce, like that was the thing that kind of kept me sane and kept her, quiet for a moment. Yes. And then she was like 3 years old when everything started. But then I started noticing how it was impacting her behavior, how it was just and I said, nope, take that. And so I took it away. And and because she never really had it from the start, because people be putting them in their baby's hand at before 1. So I just because I didn't expose her to so much, it was easier to wean her off and take her off it completely. And so I think that's part of the problem, is the screens, like overexposure to screens. A lot.
kids not getting enough outside time, and
Mhm.
some parents are just not sitting with their children and spending time with them and talking to them and explaining things to them. And it's like the critical thinking skills, the comprehension skills is a real thing. And with my daughter being on the spectrum, I'm hyper vigilant because she had a speech delay. And even though she had a
Mhm.
speech delay, she was still reading. She's still doing all of those things. So I know that it's like way more to it. We have to make sure our children are reading, making sure we talk to them, making sure that they are getting things that benefited us, the things that were good for us as the children, that we expose them to those things too. And
Mhm.
so that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing
Well,
with the younger people.
the only thing, well, to your point, the thing that I'll add, and I'll try to keep it short. My sister and I, we were talking about this when we were growing up. She was telling me on Saturday she had to take my nephew to a birthday party. And Latoya, you live in Georgia. You know how far apart a lot of things are. They live in South
Mm-hmm.
Houston, and the birthday party was located in Kennesaw. And she
Okay.
had to be there by 3 o'clock. And so we were talking about how, as kids, when we had a birthday party or somebody that we knew had a birthday party, it was held at somebody's house. And
Right.
Mhm.
it was okay for hot dogs, chips, the birthday cake, and ice cream.
And that's it.
And you're just outside having a good time, And
Maybe a
so,
pinata.
yeah, if you're
Mm-hmm.
lucky, and you got your cousins, you got the kids you go to school with, parents knew each other. And so we don't have that today. And so we were talking about how, parents today, and I'm a parent today as well, is all about the aesthetics and,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
visual of, like, how
Mm-hmm.
much you spent on the birthday party, and who's coming and who's not coming, and, all of this imagery, type of thing. And so it's a disruption of community. And so when we were growing up, it really did feel like you had a childhood, and not just your child did not know your child knew your neighbors knew your child was, you had a relationship with the parents at school because they all grew up in the same school system. And so the kids today, they don't really have that. And so we were just talking about how that is a gap in the development of children today. And so that's something that is so valuable to your childhood social skills, of being able to just go
Mhm.
to somebody's house, like, my mama said, and she has some cake, and I'm gonna come, those little things. And you ran around outside, and all the elders were there, and you had the music, and you took pictures, and nobody worried about, the aftermath of, like, well, who didn't show up, or, the kids wasn't dressed down from head to toe and put fingernails and all this other type of stuff. He just was a kid,
Lord.
you know.
You didn't think about that stuff.
You didn't think about it at that time, but we were just saying just how, like, that was a very, very pivotal moment in childhood where you could just
Mhm.
be rich.
Mm-hmm.
You're a kid, I mean, be a kid and be rich in friendship and community. And so the kids
Mhm.
today be
Yeah.
robbed of that. And so I thought that was an interesting perspective, talking about you're raising your daughter and how things are different today. So
Yeah, there's a lack of third spaces.
Mhm.
They're getting rid of, like, the skating ring. They don't have them
yeah,
here anymore.
recreational skill.
There's a lot of things, and not a lot of not enough things for even the teenagers. They don't really have, like, I feel like we have more
We
spaces,
do.
and even when it comes to music and all of that, we just had that, for our age range. So yeah, there is it's so much,
Yeah,
but I do feel like, even with some of the issues that is happening, across the country or whatever, that there's a population of us that's trying to get it right. That
yeah.
we're trying. It's hard, but trying
Yeah.
to do right. But
You gotta keep it moving.
it
You gotta. If you don't see
yeah.
it, you gotta create it. You
Yes,
gotta.
yeah. Yeah, you have to. And I think that's why for me it's important for my daughter to be in not necessarily in what's considered the best school in my area, but she needs to be around people that look like her right now. And I just see the difference because she's an only child too. I put her in I put in everything in our neighborhood, and I see the difference in her confidence and everything, and just her being around people that look like her. And it's just it's pretty. And I'm thankful for the school she's in now because it's a better school than she was last year. But it's just so imperative right now. I'm just thinking about all the things I want to expose her to right now because it's just we're in a different time period than what it was, and so it's like how to make it different, because it's different. We had I mean she don't really have cousins like that. Like she's the baby and she's like the only she's the only grandchild pretty much with my mother. She's the first grandchild with my mother. It's the only pretty much. And then on the other side with her dad, they're all the way in Pittsburgh area and she's the baby. And so all her cousins are pretty much grown. They're young adults, or they're like, I think the one that's before her, he's like a teenager. So it's like, yeah, she's the same age range as her father's nephew's child, so the great grandchild. Like they're in the same age range because there's a huge age gap between him and his siblings, my ex-husband. So that's why that happened. But
well, she's doing a good job, and thank you for sharing that as well. I hope she continues to grow up in an environment that is a reflection of the roots that you are planting within her, and that's to blossom beautifully as well. That's really important.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, ladies, we're gonna wrap this up.
We've been at this a while.
What is your final review? Would you recommend Soulmates Dissipate to a friend? Why or why not?
I would, just so I have somebody else I could talk about it with and watch their real-time reactions.
Yeah.
I would recommend it as like, entertainment. Like not like, oh, this is you have to get this book, but like if you need something, you want to hear a story that kind of takes your mind off of things, go for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Amanda or Latoya?
I would recommend it to a friend purely because of the drama in it. I would recommend this book. Not only for the drama, but also because of Mary B. Morrison. Like I read, what is it? Once again, nevermore. I think that was the name of the book, and I believe that book is part of the series, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I would recommend it because it comes in a series. So you have to read one to get to the other.
That's
So,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Latoya, what about
there's another book, isn't there?
Yeah.
I would say I would recommend this book depending on the person. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this book because it just has the unexpected twists and turns, but then it's like there's predictability in the characters, but then there's like what? It was just a unexpected like turn. So I would definitely recommend it depending on like the person that if we're talking about books and I'm like, oh, you probably would like this one. And then ask them, they give me feedback on what they think. So yeah.
Well, we didn't ask you this earlier, Latoya, so I'm going to ask you now. What was your rating or expectation of the book going in, and did it change after you read it? Like, did you rate it a 6 before you started reading, and then it became a 10 after you read it?
So, like, you mean like my rating when I first started it, or like
your was your expectation, or before you started?
Before I started, I didn't even read the description. I kind of just that's what I did. I didn't even read the description, so I didn't even go in. I was just like, well, the author seemed familiar. I was like, it's probably pretty decent. I was like, I didn't go in. I guess I'm gonna say 5 because I didn't really have I didn't read anything about it, and so I don't think I never read this book before, so I'm
Okay.
gonna just say 5 because I don't. It's neutral. I mean, I just went in, dove in, and then when I dove in, I was like, this is an interesting book. So I would say I give it. It was entertaining, although it was just at the same time, I was like, come on, y'all. I would say 8.5. I would
Mm,
say 8.5.
okay.
It was better than I anticipated because of the because of the twists and turns, and it kind of went back in history. And I want to say this: I love Mr. Hamilton. What's his name? Mr. Hamilton, or the Jada's mom's special friend. I loved his
Oh,
Yes,
character.
Robert. He
Oh
Yeah.
was
yeah,
good.
yeah, Mr.
I
Hamilton.
loved
I
him
loved his
checking
character.
the moms.
Him. Yeah,
mhm.
I loved him and Candace. Their character. I did. I thought he was a great addition,
Yeah.
unexpected supporting role person in the book. I loved his character.
Mhm.
She kind of got her together. I loved it. But yeah,
Okay,
eight point
that's a
five.
good one. Okay. So I would definitely recommend this book. I think I would recommend it just for the drama, like Amanda said. If you're looking for something that keeps your attention, I think it's a page turner. You don't know what to expect. And shout out to Mary B. Morrison. She is an exquisite writer that does not get the recognition and flowers that she deserves. I think she told this story very beautifully, and very in a way that is very hard to capture attention today with my short attention span sometimes, and I'm multitasking. But and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to lock in on an audiobook. So this really pulled me in and did not let me go. And I like when a story gives me that anticipation of what's going to happen in the next chapter. It wasn't as predictable for me as Latoya mentioned. I could see that with the character development, but I was still kind of surprised in a few ways with this. But I feel like I started with, I think I said a 6, and I would leave off with an 8.5. Like this book was really, really good. And the only reason I didn't give it a 10 is because for personal reasons, I'm not really a series person. I don't really like to go all the way down that rabbit hole. I'm just kind of like a one-off, make me feel good and satisfy me. But that's okay. I really enjoyed this book, so I would definitely recommend this book.
I feel like I need to go back and look at what the series entails, because whether I want to keep, I don't mind series, but it depends on how I feel. And I feel like by the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, all right, that's enough.
Was this your introduction to Mary B. Morrison?
As an adult, yes, because I think I showed you guys my bookshelf, and I'm like, I have a book by her, but I don't remember this book. A lot of those books I know I read, but I can't tell you everything about them. And then so as an adult with adult eyes, then yes, this is my introduction.